Hello, everyone, and welcome. Salam alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, and salamat malam. Good evening in Indonesia. Hello to all our followers. Thank you so much for joining today. So, today is Friday, August 11th, and we're kicking off our celebrations of International Youth Day with our first ever live X Spaces event. I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Renee Fuentes, and I'm a Senior Communications Coordinator at Banyan Global.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia Cortez and I'm a Senior Program Coordinator in Banyan Global's Health Practice.
Hey, Sophia.
Great to be here.
And Sophia and I are joined by two other colleagues today, Leah and Amber.
Hi, everyone, and happy Youth Day. I'm Leah Kilgren, and I'm a Senior Program Officer in our health practice. And that was Georgie, and she has quite a reputation around Banyan Global.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Ardiente, the HR and payroll accountant here at Banyan Global.
Amber, thanks for joining. We couldn't be here without you.
Renee, that's really true. Amber makes sure we get paid.
So, without further ado, we'll dive into today's theme, which is also the theme of this year's International Youth Day globally.
Green skills for youth. To be honest with you, I'm not really sure what this means.
I'm right there with you. So I think we should put out our first trivia question, and I see it in the space. Thanks so much, Andrew. How many of you know what green skills are? Andrew just shared this question with everyone in the space, so you can actually click on the tweet or the post, and you can vote on which of these are examples of green skills.
So the question is, which of the following is considered a green skill? A, historical knowledge. B, risk monitoring. So this can be monitoring for financial risk or something like sea level rise. C, engineering, civic or environmental, for example. Or D, all of the above.
And while people vote, we'll share a little bit about Banyan Global.
Yes, so Banyan Global is a woman-owned small business and an international development consulting firm. While we are based here in Washington, D.C., we work all over the world in more than 70 countries. Our team is a unique blend of professionals with development and private sector experience.
Yes, and Banyan Global's work is primarily funded by the U.S. government through the United States Agency for International Development and the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC. We do want to be clear, though, that today everything we say is the sole responsibility of Banyan Global and does not necessarily reflect the views of USAID or the United States government.
Yes, and Banyan Global implements a variety of work across 5 practice areas, but today, for obvious reasons, we'll focus on 2 of our youth-related projects.
And I'm honestly really excited. We're diving into work in our Jordan and Indonesia projects, 2 very different countries, both with large youth populations, growing opportunities within the green economy.
Okay, let's take one step back and look at our trivia question. To me, all of the answers really did seem like possible candidates.
Yeah, and I liked the idea of considering historical or cultural knowledge as a green skill. We have to have the historical context to know where we came from in order to know where we're going.
That's a great point, Leah. Historical knowledge can definitely be considered a green skill. Same with risk monitoring and engineering. So the answer, I think, is all of the above. Thanks, everyone, for voting.
At this point in the space, we'd like to open up an opportunity for one of our live listeners to weigh in. What did you think of these examples of green skills? Is there a universal definition of green skills that you may be aware of?
If you're a listener on the space and you want to weigh in on this topic of green skills, you can request permission to speak by selecting the request icon below the microphone on your phone. And then if you're listening from a desktop or laptop, you can either switch to a mobile app to weigh in. Otherwise, we're glad you're here listening with us. So, Andrew, is there anyone requesting to speak on this topic?
Hi, Renee. It looks like Janice requested to speak.
Great. Let's hear from Janice.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi, I'm Janice Stallard.
Yes, we can hear you.
I also work at Banyan Global, and I'm so delighted to be here. And I actually found all of your points here really thought-provoking because I hadn't really thought about green skills in terms of historical knowledge, risk monitoring, and engineering. So I thought just the question itself was really interesting and thought-provoking, and it really made me think about things differently. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Janice. If we have no other contributions, I can jump in with a high-level definition of green skills. So the UN defines green skills as knowledge, abilities, values, and attitudes needed to live in, develop, and support a sustainable and resource-efficient society. It sounds like a pretty general definition, but it's also important to know that green skills include both soft skills and hard skills. So those soft skills can include historical and cultural knowledge, like we mentioned before, as well as long-term thinking, creativity, and even interpersonal skills.
That's cool. And what are some examples of hard green skills?
That's a great question, Sophia. Hard skills include the two we mentioned in the trivia question, monitoring for financial risk and engineering, but they also include systems design and scientific understanding, so fields like biology, chemistry, physics, etc. And monitoring skills are also really important for things like emissions monitoring and reporting, or even quantifying biodiversity.
So Andrew is sharing a great blog in this space from Aim High Earth, and it includes a wonderful list of green skills and examples.
That's really interesting. I love it. Green skills are really multidisciplinary.
Definitely multidisciplinary. And while it's already 8:30 p.m. on a Friday in Indonesia, Lindsay Mursila, our colleague and chief of party from USAID Partnerships for Productivity in Jakarta, was kind enough to provide us with an audio clip to understand where soft skills and green skills overlap. And I will play it for you now.
We identify the green skill are the knowledge, abilities, values, and attitudes needed to live in, develop, and support a sustainable and resource-efficient society. And soft skill, commonly defined as non-technical skill, that enable someone to interact effectively and harmoniously with others. The skills are vital to organization and can impact culture, mindset, leadership, attitudes, and behaviors. I see there are overlaps between these two skills in many aspects and elements. Basically, green skill and soft skill emphasize and focus on the similar things, which are expressed in slightly different languages. Both emphasize on the values and attitudes, design and critical thinking, interpersonal skill and empathy or kindness, pioneer and entrepreneurial skill, leadership and management skill, creativity, advanced communication and negotiation skill, adaptability, resilience, continuous learning skill, cultural understanding, and nature connectivity. A range of soft skills are also considered to be increasingly important, not only for green skill, but generally for skill of the future, including also those necessary for the 4.0 industry era.
Lindsay gave us some great examples of soft and green skills. But what about the connection with youth? What's the importance of youth people developing green skills?
Well, we're actually experiencing a green transition right now. So improving sustainability is critical to respond to climate change. And a successful transition depends on the development of those green skills.
And I think youth are well positioned to grow their knowledge and develop green skills that are linked to the creation of green jobs and to growing green economies.
And that makes so much sense. Our next trivia question touches on exactly that topic. Thank you for sharing it in the space, Andrew. The question is, the International Labor Organization predicts the green transition will create approximately how many jobs for young people by the year 2030? If our listeners would like to vote, the options are A, 750,000, B, 100.1 million, C, 8.4 million, or D, 17 million.
Based on these options, I think I'd have to go with at least more than 1 million because there are 275 million people in Indonesia alone.
Wow. But how many of those 275 million are under 30?
About half, actually.
Okay. Okay. So definitely over a million.
But remember, job creation isn't easy, and not everyone has green skills. So maybe it's like 8.4 or 17 million.
So the correct estimation is 8.4 million green jobs for young people by 2030.
8 million. That is a lot.
It is. And Banyan Global's work directly contributes to green skills development for youth through the two projects that we're talking about today.
And that is the USAID Recycling Activity in Jordan, led by Chemonics International, and Banyan Global's USAID Partnership for Productivity in Indonesia. Andrew will be sharing some links in this space, so please do check them out to learn more.
And I think now is a great time to hear from youth engaged in our work. First up, the USAID Recycling Activity in Jordan. The activity is based in Amman and uses a market systems approach to increase commercial sector recycling.
How common is recycling in Jordan?
Yeah, I think some context would be helpful. I can't say that I know much about the recycling industry there.
Well, then I guess now's a great time to learn. We have 2 trivia questions about this, so all our listeners can vote on the polls that we just shared in the space. The first question is, on average, how many tons of solid waste are generated in Jordan each year? A, 220 million, B, 12 million, C, 120 million, or D, 2.2 million. Please vote on that. And then we're also asking, based on all the waste that Jordan generates each year, about how much of it is recycled. We're looking for a percentage. And the options for that are A, 3 to 5%, B, 8 to 10%, C, 12 to 15%, or D, 25 to 30%.
And as people weigh in on the polls, you should know the USAID Recycling Activity in Jordan works closely with the informal sector waste pickers, private recycling service providers, and Jordan's Ministry of Environment, as well as the Greater Amman municipality.
And one aspect of the market systems approach is to support the transformation of the informal network of recyclers into a competitive recycling industry. And by doing so, the project contributes to Oman's solid waste management and the green economy.
That seems really relevant in a country that generates 2.2 million tons of waste each year. Those who answered D in the before trivia question were correct.
Yes, and only 8 to 10% of that is recycled currently. So ding, 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 you have your trivia answers. There is another important element too. Banyan Global's role in leading gender equality and social inclusion integration across the project. We work to ensure that activities are inclusive of marginalized groups. And in this case, that means women, informal waste pickers, people with disabilities, female and male youth, as well as refugees.
Exactly. Informal waste pickers, including women and young people, make a living by collecting, sorting, recycling, and selling the generated waste from residential and commercial sectors. While they do play a really important role in recycling and in the local economy, they have a low social status and often live and work in difficult conditions that can compromise their health and safety.
So the Waste Picker Training and Certification Program aims to improve waste pickers' technical knowledge and soft skills to increase their potential engagement in municipal recycling programs and formal collection schemes. Banyan Global supports implementation and collaboration with Chemonics International and Jordanian partners.
The recycling activity in Jordan also has a youth internship program. It provides young people opportunities to increase their awareness of the green economy and the skills they need to be successful. One of those youth interns is Shaban, a 26-year-old that has been with the program for about a year. We have a pre-recorded clip with an English voiceover that highlights what green skills Shaban is honing during his experience as an intern, and we'll play it for you right now.
The project has been a starting point for me to learn more about balancing economic growth and environmental sustainability. I have acquired various skills, including personal skills such as communication and expression of ideas, as well as technical skills like waste valuation and separation at source. In the future, if I start my own business, I will implement the skills and techniques I learned from the project, such as separation at source and utilizing renewable energy sources like solar panels, areas where Jordan excels. I encourage all young people to think of the environment and think green for the future to preserve our planet for ourselves and future generations.
That's such a great representation of this year's Youth Day theme. You can watch the full video by clicking on the post that Andrew has shared in the space, or you can go to Banyan Global's profile to watch it with the subtitles. Just be sure that you have enabled closed captions on YouTube when watching the video.
And Shaban highlights some great examples of green skills he is strengthening during the internship. So soft skills like effective communication and self-expression, and technical skills like waste evaluation and source separation.
It's also worth mentioning that these skills have a big focus in the Waste Picker certification program, in addition to gender-based violence awareness and prevention and entrepreneurship.
Yes, and although there are fewer female participants in the certification program, a positive impact that we're seeing is changing the stereotypes about women's participation in the male-dominated waste and recycling sector in Jordan.
So by empowering and building the capacity of female participants, the program encourages everyone to break down stereotypes and be open to valuing the role that women and youth play in the value chain of waste collection, sorting, and sales.
And participants also recognize how a diversity of ideas strengthens their ability to expand services and increase revenue.
So let's hear more on the topic of inclusion of youth and the green economy, specific to the Arab region, from our colleague in Jordan, Maha Al-Hatib, Banyan Global's gender and informal sector specialist working on the USAID Recycling Activity. Since today is Friday and it is the weekend in Jordan, Maha was kind enough to provide her thoughts in a pre-recorded clip.
In the Arab region, environmental issues are somehow crucial for the Arab youth, but are not a top priority for them. The most recent survey conducted by the Arab Youth Center found that around 40% of young people only say that they are ready to adopt sustainable behavior that can protect and preserve the environment and contribute to mitigating the causes of climate change, especially if these behaviors become easier to embrace. This indicates several barriers that hinder youth in expanding green initiatives and developing their skills, such as the low-level awareness about the environmental status and its impact on economic growth, livelihoods, and sustainability. In addition, the low level of youth involvement in decision and policy-making processes renders their role as observers. The limited financial support for youth entrepreneurs in green businesses and the difficulties in access to finance is also considered as a challenge for youth in expanding their green initiatives.
Maha makes a really important point when she identifies the barriers that youth continue to confront in understanding the impact of the green economy on livelihoods, their opportunities to develop the green skills that the market demands, and their engagement in the discussion to solutions.
Now let's go back to Maha to understand how Jordan, and specifically the USAID Recycling Activity in Jordan, are addressing these barriers with training and entrepreneurial opportunities specific to the green economy.
Lately in Jordan, several funded programs and projects are specifically designed to engage and empower youth to enhance their employability in green sectors. These kinds of programs and projects provide comprehensive training programs equally for males and females to build their capacities and develop their soft and technical skills. These types of training programs guarantee access to information for all young people, regardless of their gender. In addition, there are many incubators and accelerators here in Jordan that support startups and youth entrepreneurs in the green sector. These incubators and accelerators offer opportunities for young people to start their own businesses, innovate, and create new solutions for environmental challenges. Also, they establish mentorship programs and networks that connect young people with experienced professionals in green industries to help them bridging the gap and provide guidance for career advancement. I believe that highlighting success stories of young entrepreneurs, especially women in our country, can serve as a powerful source of inspiration for aspiring individuals and encourage them to pursue their dreams and start their own environmentally initiatives. By showcasing these achievements, we could challenge common stereotypes surrounding youth involvement and female participation in green businesses. These successful cases demonstrate that both young men and women are fully capable of playing significant roles in creating positive impacts on both the nation's well-being and environmental preservation.
It sounds like our work is encouraging other women and youth to start green initiatives. That's something to be really proud of and a really great thing.
I couldn't agree more. And everyone, if you're just now joining us, welcome again to Banyan Global's Youth Day celebration. I'm Renee Fuentes, and I'm joined by my colleagues Amber Ardiente, Sofia Cortez, and Leah Kellgren to talk about two of Banyan Global's youth-focused projects, the USAID Recycling Activity in Jordan, led by Chemonics, and the USAID Partnerships for Productivity in Indonesia. We just heard from Maha Al-Khatib, Banyan Global's gender and informal sector specialist working on the USAID recycling activity in Jordan.
And we really want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the local teams in Amman and Jakarta who contributed to this event. We couldn't have done it without you, and thank you for taking the time to share your experiences related to green skills for youth.
As we transition over into our work in Indonesia, we're going to explore the green economy from a youth perspective. So, Amber, these quote-unquote green jobs, as they're called, are they jobs that contribute to preserving or restoring the environment?
Yes, basically they're jobs that support environmentally friendly processes or the production of green goods or services. And young people need to be well equipped with these green skills so that they can successfully navigate the green economy and leverage the opportunities that it presents.
So where do today's youth currently stand? Do you think they're ready for the green transition?
I think there's definitely a skills gap going on right now. If the current trends persist, by the year 2030, more than 60% of young people may lack the skills required to thrive in a green economy.
60% lacking? That's going to require some serious investment.
You're right, Leah. Well, one reason we see the skills gap is the lack of national and transnational policies related to the environment and skills development. For green skills to drive both youth and employment and sustainable development, international policies need to be well aligned and mutually reinforcing.
That's really interesting, Amber. Where do you see the most opportunity?
So I think the key is utilizing market-driven approaches. The private sector knows where the green economy is and where it's going, so they know the most relevant skills to invest in.
So it's really the private sector perspective that's making the difference.
Yes, we think so, especially in programs that impact youth, like Tibet centers.
Sorry, Amber, can you remind me and our listeners what TVET stands for?
Yes, TVET stands for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, so T-VET.
Thanks. And there's an appetite for this.
Absolutely, especially in a country like Indonesia where climate change is on top of everyone's mind. So let's share a trivia question related to this right now. Thank you, Andrew. So the trivia question, in 2015, the Indonesian government allocated $140 billion to develop green skills and infrastructure in what specific industry? Would that be A, hospitality and tourism, B, manufacturing, or C, transportation?
In Indonesia, all three of those are really important industries.
And think specifically green skills and infrastructure.
Right. Then definitely hospitality, or it could be transportation.
And green skills development is really urgent in Indonesia. Esther Manarung from USAID Indonesia was kind enough to share with us where USAID is focusing on investment related to green initiatives. So let's take a listen from her pre-recorded clip.
USAID Indonesia is leading efforts to equip Indonesian youth with skills to meet climate change challenges. USAID Sustainable Energy for Indonesia's Advancing Resilience, or USAID SINAR, is working with youth and young professionals to strengthen capacities needed to accelerate energy transition away from fossil fuels to renewable and sustainable energy sources such as solar, wind, water, and geothermal. In the vocational education sector, USAID's Partnerships for Productivity, or USAID PADU, is increasing access to high-quality training of these great skills by leveraging expertise, technologies, and resources of private companies and businesses. Our partnerships are transforming Indonesia's current and future workforce to foster a thriving and sustainable economy.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of donor and government support for the much needed investment in green business and in infrastructure in Indonesia.
Yeah, was that an option in the trivia question?
Well, kind of. The correct answer is actually hospitality and tourism, but the government's investment was specifically for infrastructure too.
Got it. Talk about a need for green skills.
And so is that where Banyan's global work comes in?
Yes, not only are USAID Partnerships for Productivity in Indonesia and its focus on market-driven skill development, but also our overall approach to working with youth.
And what does that approach entail, Renee?
It entails implementing USAID's Positive Youth Development Framework, PYD.
What is positive youth development?
Well, I think there's actually a lot of different definitions. But to ground us for this discussion, let's use USAID's. USAID defines positive youth development as an approach and framework that engages youth along with their families, communities, and or governments so that youth are empowered to reach their full potential.
And PYD approaches build skills, assets, and competencies. They foster healthy relationships, strengthen the environment, and transform systems. PYD is also evidence-based and tailored to the context in which it's implemented. The approach is what informs all our work with youth at Banyan Global, including on PADU.
So now we're going to hear from Lindsay, who is our colleague here at Banyan Global in the Gender and Youth Practice. And she's also the former chief of party of the USAID Honduras Workforce Development Activity. We're going to learn a little bit more about PYD and the key considerations for programming.
Today, I would like to highlight the 4 PYD domains and some of their key features that need to be addressed to achieve healthy, productive, and engaged youth in programs and at the policy level. The first domain is assets.
And this focuses on providing youth with the necessary resources, skills, and competencies to achieve their desired outcomes. Soft skills is a great example of this in any skill development training program, especially when it comes to green skills. Number 2 is agency, and this means that the youth themselves must perceive and have the ability to employ their assets in identifying their dreams, in setting their own goals, and acting upon their decisions. Number 3 is contribution, and this focuses on youth engagement as a source of change for themselves and their community's positive development. And last but not least, enabling environment. Youth must be surrounded by an environment that develops and supports their assets, agency, access to services, and different opportunities. Now, in this scenario, the term environment can be interpreted broadly to include social aspects such as the relationships with their peers and other adults, social norms, beliefs, or attitudes, even structural environments such as policies, laws, and systems, and of course, physical environments, safe and supportive spaces. So in any programming that's considering positive youth development approach, the environment needs to strengthen their ability to avoid risks, to stay safe and secure, and be protected while living without fear of violence or retribution. I would say that considering that today's young generation is the largest the world has ever known, effective youth programming, especially in green skills, is crucial to continue developing youth resources, their skills, and their ability to employ them.
So youth must have agency and power to act. How appropriate for today's focus.
Absolutely. And it gets me really excited to talk more about PADU too. Since October 2022, Banyan Global has been implementing the Partnerships for Productivity in Indonesia, abbreviated as PADU. PADU is a 5-year activity that aims to enhance private sector investment in TVET through partnerships with private sector firms and government-run centers.
Market-driven solutions and positive youth development?
Yes, to both, Sophia. And PADU is catalyzing public-private partnerships and investment to improve the capacity of TVET centers to address skills gaps in the labor market and facilitate job placement for youth.
We are going to hear again from Lindsay, PADU's chief of party, and she's going to give us some context on how green skills are a large focus of engaging with Indonesia's private sector.
In Indonesia, along with government, the private sector has a leading role to play in driving the energy transition. Therefore, they are also expected to realize that investing in sustainability makes a good business sense in the short and long run period. In 2017, Indonesia government developed RUEN, stand for Rencana Umum Energi Nasional or National Energy General Plan. Based on calculation from Coaction Indonesia, the local organization, the need for direct labor in renewable energy based on the installed capacity in the RUEN's target, by 2030, more than 430,000 direct workers will be needed, namely workers who are directly involved in the process of building plant to produce electrical energy with renewable energy. This number will be increased if we also include related jobs to support this core business, such as marketing, public analysis, public relations, finance and tax, and so on. When moving to renewable energy, the industry should equip their team with new skills to align with needed on green jobs and green skill. From the high-level management into their workers in the factories and the field should have the necessary thinking and skill to run their business. For some industries, hard skill for conventional job and green job will be the same. The company only needs to provide additional skill, as well as upgrade knowledge related to the green job. While for other industry, it will require new skill that should be provided by the company. Therefore, investing in skilling, upskilling, and reskilling their employee is a must for companies. This new skill will be able to support their company to improve brand image, reduce cost of operation, support local communities, and increase client customer base through green image. and increase profit at the end.
That was a lot of food for thought from Lindsay in the Indonesian context. It sounds like our colleagues in Padu and their local counterparts will be very busy rising to the challenge of preparing youth with the appropriate skills that are being demanded by the market, especially for the green economy.
Absolutely. And we want to say thank you again to our local teams in Amman and Jakarta and USAID Indonesia who contributed the content for today's event.
And thank you also to USAID and Phonics for your support of the event, and to Lindsay Jaco for ensuring the pre-recorded content came together smoothly.
And last but not least, we want to extend a big thank you to all of you, our followers and listeners, who joined us live or will be listening to this space recording. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We hope you now follow Banyan Global here on X, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where we share the latest updates from our projects around the world. If you have any questions from today's event, tweet us at X or email us at contactus@banyanglobal.com. Thanks again to all my co-hosts, Renee, Amber, and Leah, and especially Andrew Cooney for making the space a reality. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Happy Youth Day.
Bye.